workshop session now, and obviously within this session, your laptops, you're going to put them away, put your notebooks away, because now we're going to do some work together. And I think what is important here is that the presentation that I gave just now really alludes to the fact that within curriculum transformation, yes, you can have the teacher with all the ideas, with all the resources, but if there is resistance from some of your colleagues, from management, then that is absolutely not going to take place. So here, when we're speaking about stakeholder engagement, we are looking at, so who are all these stakeholders with regard to curriculum transformation? And I think invariably in higher education, we think that curriculum transformation is only about the management who needs to do it, or maybe the funders who need to inform if the funders are from industry, etc. So in this session, and we may take the whole time, I'm not sure, but we will work with it as we go along. So it says unpacking stakeholder engagement in curriculum transformation. So already you have an idea of what that curriculum transformation is all about. You have an idea of what the Daugiau project is as well, which is framework tools to guide STEM and management educational leaders in the time of VUCA. And obviously we've looked at the work packages and the 3 work packages that we have to do. And I must tell you that with the EU Erasmus Plus project, I have never worked so hard in a project before. Yes, I've done lots and lots of projects with lots of money within the South African or the Southern African context. But oh my Lord, this you have to report all the time. And so you can see that within our curriculum transformation, we're looking at who are the drivers, what are the leadership practices and styles, workshop co-design and implement. So part of what we are doing is to say, in working with you, we need to unpack the stakeholders who are involved in curriculum transformation. And one of the things that we are finding when we speak about curriculum transformation in our South African or our Southern African context, we all have an idea. But when we speak in different contexts, people will say, curriculum transformation, maybe change, but essentially we understand what transformation actually means. But you can see there that what we are looking at to activate agility and resilience, identify and share innovative curricula, assess, and then sharing contrasting ideas and practices in curriculum design. And what are the insights destined to catalyze the transformation needed to foster more resilient and agile higher education systems? And this is where you come in this particular process. So in order for us to unpack curriculum transformation, we are going to go through a particular process which is a rich picture. So you're going to be divided into groups, and I'm going to divide you into groups of 3. So I'll count. If you're number 1, you go to group 1, number 2, group 2, 3, group 3. So I'll start from the back. 1, 2, Paolo 2, no, she's 1, you 2, you 3, okay? 1, 2, oh, you're not playing, okay, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Okay? So you're going to get into your particular groups, and we are going to look at what is a rich picture, and you're going to be expected to draw a rich picture. Okay? So in your groups, can we get you into your groups, please? Group 1, you need to have a table in front of you. So I'm so glad that we're in this room because there are tables.
Group 2.
1, 2. 2. Paolo, group 1.
Maybe
Okay.
Oh my God. What number are you? Ask her what number is she?
What's your number?
3. And you 1.
Group 3.
Group 1. Who is group 1?
Yeah,
to represent something. So I will take you through a video as to what is meant by a rich picture and how you work with a particular rich picture. So if you think about it, the swords that you have there would represent probably a fight, because there's a pub, and in that pub probably fights take place. And then you would have like a speech bubble. If there are other pubs close by, then there's competition that you're looking at. And so with regard to the pub, there's also the police, because, and that's the symbol for the police. They need to look at drunk driving, the closing time. If you're looking at the customers going to the pub, they're getting goods, they have to pay cash. And then you have to look at who are the people who work in the pub, etc. Our seat and our place would be the university. Okay? So it's not the pub, it would be the university. So what we're going to do now is I'm quickly going to show you what a rich picture is and how you go about actually drawing a rich picture. I hope the sound is, here's the sound. Oh, it's on 100, okay.
Are rich pictures. Rich pictures are free format diagrams that allow analysts to document an existing business situation. It is called a rich picture because a preliminary drawing is created following some initial investigation, and this drawing is then enriched with further information as the analysis progresses. Shown here is an example rich picture which shows a business situation within a cafe. We will look at this in more detail later, but first let's look at how to construct a rich picture. It is important to understand that there are no rules for drawing rich pictures and no constraints on what may be drawn. A good starting point is to identify the key stakeholder groups and consider their position within the organisational structure, plus their ideas, opinions and views about the business situation. Some areas to consider are the structure of the situation. This will reflect the published organisation chart, but also what sort of things about the working relationships between people and departments. It could also cover tangible aspects such as the physical location of buildings. The complaints or criticisms that the stakeholders make about the business situation. The stakeholders may have certain issues or views that they wish to share. They may hold contradictory views. Sometimes they may have very strong opinions. These issues, views and opinions should be identified as early as possible. The values and beliefs held by the stakeholders. For example, what do they value and what do they think is less important? What do they think is the rationale or main focus for the business? The business processes that are carried out. It is often valuable to show information or document flows between people, teams and departments. The symbols evident in the organisation. For example, is there evidence of a hierarchy with privileges for senior staff? Conflicts within the organisation. This could be between individuals or departments, or perhaps to other organisations. Any areas of uncertainty, things to be investigated further. For example, whether data supports the expressed opinions of stakeholders. Finally, the culture of the business area. Is this a supportive firm, or does it have a blame culture? Is there a silo approach, or do the staff collaborate with colleagues from other areas? The rich picture can be used to reflect what people say about the business situation and how they feel about their working environment. It is important to understand that there are no rules for drawing rich pictures and no constraints on what may be drawn. The key point is to represent the entire situation using any symbols, pictures and words considered useful. It is typical that matchstick figures for people, eyes for reviews or external scrutiny, cross swords for dispute, etc. are used within rich pictures. Some suggestions for symbols that may be used are shown here, but these are only suggestions picture on a whiteboard or flip chart is a much more effective approach. Developing a rich picture is best approached as a group exercise with at least 2 people participating. This allows for information and sharing. Crossing out and redrawing the picture is often required, so it is usually best to use a whiteboard. It is important to develop the picture as more information is obtained, so the picture becomes richer during the investigation process. Let's go back to the rich picture we saw earlier, which shows a business situation within a cafe. Several problem areas are highlighted in this rich picture. For example, cooking staff are under pressure and can't keep up with orders. Customers are not happy because having ordered their food, they can't find somewhere to sit, and available tables are often dirty. The waitresses feel they are trying their best, but can't keep up with the level of orders and tidying up. The boss is worried about takings and is being scrutinised by his business partner. The overall impression here is of a business situation where staff are trying but can't keep up with the demand. The management are concerned because takings are down and customers are unhappy. There is one exception: the student customers who enjoy sitting in the cafe but don't buy a lot. The picture uses simple drawings but still captures succinctly a sense of the processes, the people and the culture of the organisation.
Okay, so our scenario is that we are in a higher education institution. We need to understand who are the stakeholders in this institution. And the stakeholders linked to curriculum transformation. And you are expected to use symbols to draw the rich picture. Okay? So in your groups, the first thing you'd have to think about is who are the stakeholders that you need to work with. Go ahead, you've got a few minutes to work on that. Who are the stakeholders that you need to work with? Who are the stakeholders in your higher education institution? And each group has to work out. You must decide. For any change in curriculum that has to take place at your university.
We have Ministry of Arts, but they are too far from this. In Italy,
It's a higher education institution. Because remember, you're not on your own.
not only because
whatever happens,
there is the Ministry of University, but these are not many connections with the daily life of the university. In the daily life, students, professors, administrative staff, and university. These are the real stakeholders. You need
accreditation of, let's say, program.
No, we accreditation.
First license and then accredited. For an certificate.
No, these are not.
You have to draw your rich picture on this page afterwards with the symbol.
It's not just the institutional.
Okay, that's good. So maybe we also mention Ministry of Education
Yeah, because
as a high level.
usually higher institutions are commanded straightforward by minister. Basic schools, for instance, by local authorities.
Of course.
Well, there is a private company. There might be also some owner or some. We have, for instance, institution bound to some factories, like school, but it's a specific situation maybe in some cases.
If it is private, then
it is some kind of independent is evaluating that.
The committee that evaluates
Yes.
the uni. Yes. University committee. I think how do you call it?
In Finland it's government. University government.
University government.
University?
University government.
Government. Then what about this finance Ministry of Finance? Because the policy most of the time impact in Finland. Okay, ministry, various ministry, when we are saying that means it comes.
These are the ones that, so we are university and we are going to demand money from this. Yeah? Okay. So just funding.
I think broadly, when we are discussing about policy, ministry, one, employer who? Which employer? So all this.
European Commission. Employers, universities?
No, I think that employers are outside of the university. Employers are part of the university. So can I delete? Can I?
Actually, they also
it's not only the university that decides how the students pursue the employers. The university is training students for the employers.
Okay, we should be very clear. Then political party, this is very clear. Societies and communities, it's
scientific, social or scientific?
societies and community.
Yeah,
Different societies which play a role.
Also researchers, I think. We're talking about this certain discipline, then researchers in that discipline, or researchers in education as well.
Okay.
But then,
We draw much, not content is rich.
That makes sense.
okay, should we destroy this?
I think
Destroy it.
With rich, you want draft.
I think middle will be the policy and then stakeholder.
Honestly,
What's your
I
idea?
think that university is
Middle.
like the
Because we are talking about the
university
Okay.
curriculum.
Okay.
I think that's
Draw the picture of university.
Is there some symbol for ministry? Oh yes, it might be some coat of arms.
Good, very nice. That is.
Now, all I know that's for, but if you have the design on your small page, I mean, you can start. Yeah, you've just got a few minutes left for your rich picture.
Oh, great symbol.
Does this make sense to you why we need to do this?
Yes,
Yes,
and I'm
okay.
lucky we have a very nice.
schools as well.
I used to use it when we were more small than less bigger.
And researchers. Okay, I'm going to...
Researchers is okay.
So, now we need political party.
Political party, you just brought up political.
Okay. Posters should go up now, please, quickly. Who's going to report from this group? And the reporting is just 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
How to draw a
Come, you should be done. Slindo Bule, you should be done.
Okay, so our consideration here is the higher education institution, which of course includes both professors and students, which are involved in any change. Then of course there is a labor market, there are some symbols, but these are the organization, institution, employers who take the students and of course they press on universities how to prepare, how to improve, what to change so that the students were better in labor market. Of course the boss is Ministry of Education. In fact in the Czech Republic is the weakest point of education system, but Ministry of Education who makes that's some money and of course make some rule, and usually transformation starts with some intention of Ministry of Education. Then of course there are parents who send their children to schools, and from schools they usually aspire to universities, and of course they may globally express some intentions or potential for change. Well, and of course, in many countries it is that the research is done not only on higher institution, but also some research institution like Academy of Sciences or some big institution like CERN, LIGO, and so on. So they also take students, especially in PhD status, and they, of course, make some impressions or demands how to prepare the students.
Thank you so much. So if you have to look at that and you think about who are the people who have the most influence, what would you say?
Well, I think it depends. Formally ministry, of course. I'm based on my personal experience, but I think the ministry is also sometimes influenced by the labor market or the employees. So I would say that's the strongest, because usually if you are parents, ministry is not listening to you too much, but if you are a strong employer, like for instance in the Czech Republic, Škoda car company, ministry is really listening what Škoda car company is doing, because it's a really big employer, so it's a big player.
Thank you so much, Drew.
We start with the university, including faculties, and we named it Faculty Garden. Professional professors, academic staff, which then leads through University Street. You can get to university administration and students, as well as Study Street, which takes us to schools, where in a general sense, where students might have their practicum, either educational students or any other students. The road to Rome, we didn't mark that actually all those roads have double-way direction, out and in. In this way to Rome, leading to Ministry of Education, but in a broader sense, it also includes like Academy of Science, big research in companies, like in our Latvian case, also the Higher Education Center, which does all the accreditations. Then we have the business street, which leads to the foundations and banks, because many foundations provide grants for students. And then if we look at out of the city street, which leads us to industries, which provide the employment. It's also kind of like a labor market where our students work. Environment street, which takes us to different associations, non-profit associations, but it has a very great influence on the university because that provides the public opinion on what the university is doing. Yeah, it seems all.
Yeah, thanks. And who has the most influence?
Most influence, I think in our case, would be the university as such. University, rector, the university.
Thank you so much.
If you just see earlier too, almost similar ideas the stakeholders are mentioned. Here we are trying some out-of-box ideas, but after seeing that we need some more time to modify it. But for us, like just now Professor Sandra mentioned, university is the main who decided basically all the stakeholders, researchers, ministry, because funding agency, university, for all activities, even for sustainability, money is needed. Okay, financial support is needed for all sort of activities. So we are thinking that different ministry of Defense, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, all these ministries are playing very important role in the in case of policies. Okay. Similarly, business definitely. Student, families, teachers, they also playing an important role. Researchers, I think because researchers are connected globally and they are aware the new trends, new changes, basically in all sort of education, not only our higher education, but various disciplines they are aware, even from economics to you can say agriculture. So everything researcher has a very important role in this case, and definitely policy makers can. I think you can add something if you would like to add, or Elena, if you would like to add something.
I think it is
okay, thank you.
And the most influence?
If decided, university can do anything.
Trump comes.
Even in that's the best example, Harvard University.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Let's continue. We're
Yeah.
on to the next one. Each group now that you've identified the stakeholders, you are expected to look at what are the interests of the stakeholders, who are the internal stakeholders and who are the external stakeholders. So you have a table there, please, and please work with the stakeholders in your poster. Don't work with stakeholders that you didn't even think about. But if you want to add, I suppose add. But there you have stakeholders. Who are the internal ones to the HEI? Who are the external ones? What are their interests? So that shouldn't take you long because I think you've already thought through it. Okay. So there's your table. Complete the table. Have to look at a matrix like this, which now looks at who has the influence and the interest of stakeholders for curriculum transformation. So is it the researchers, is it the higher education management, and we have to unpack all of this. How do we unpack it? Well, let's look at if the matrix has influence and interest. Let's look at what is the meaning that we are using with regard to influence. The ability of stakeholders to shape or impact the outcome of a project, decision, or initiative. The interest represents the degree to which stakeholders are personally invested or affected by the project, decision, or initiative. And when you've looked at your internal and external stakeholders, each one of them have an influence and they have an interest. So if you turn your pages, you're going to find a matrix. On that matrix, you have a high influence and a low influence. You also have interest, a low interest, and a high interest. So for those stakeholders that you have identified, where will you place them in those 4 quadrants that you have? Either high at that point or low at this point. Where will you place them in that matrix? And in a way, you are unpacking even yourself in the process. Who are you in this whole curriculum transformation? Because remember, you are also a stakeholder. And I loved what you were saying, Lucas, because you said the Ministry of Education decides on that. So what's your role? Who are you in this process? Okay? So go to your matrix now. And based on what you have with regard to the internal stakeholders, their interest, their influence, the external, the interest and influence, take all of them together and place them onto this matrix. Turn your pages and you'll find the matrix. To conclusion, each group to present 1 minute. Who are the individuals with high interest, high influence? Group 1. Who are the individuals with high influence, high interest that you've decided on? Group 1?
You're presenting?
No, you're not group 1.
Yeah. See,
who's got high interest and high influence according to the matrix?
Okay, for group 1, you said that politicians have high influence.
Who? Politicians?
They have high influence, but not so much interest. And then the parents, they have low influence, like below there. And then for the interest, they do have some interest, but not so much. They just want their kids to go to the university, study, so that they can have their qualifications, but they are not that interested. And then the university ministry has very high influence, and they also have high interest, okay, because they are part of the university. They make like most decisions.
Okay.
And also,
thank you. Next group, time. Sorry, time.
Yes, we have high influence and high interest ministries, academic staff, also research staff, administrative staff for the quality of the education. Then lower in the influence are students and industries, but they are still high in interest. Also associations and schools are in high interest but low influence.
Thank you. Thank you. This group?
So we have just 3 quadrants filled. So the high interest and high influence are policymakers and labor market. Then low influence and high interest professors, students, potential students. And then low influence and low interest school, parents, research institution. Of course, they might be scale within the quadrants, but
yes. Yeah. Okay. So part of the unpacking of curriculum transformation, and especially if you're looking at what's currently happening globally, one has to start questioning why. Why should this curriculum transformation take place? And if you're thinking of the fact that we are into the 5IR, where are we with regard to curriculum transformation? Are we ready for the 5IR? within our particular context? Are we taking that into consideration with the resources, with the strategies that we're using, with the types of materials, the types of assessment that we are working with, etc. So certainly, we within our own spaces, I think you've already seen that in some instances, academics actually have a very high interest, but a very low influence in many instances. So what we have to think about is how do we get together to mobilize and to really push for the curriculum transformation that really is required within our particular context. Okay? So this whole workshop is really about saying, if we understand who has the high interest, who has the high influence, don't you think we should be talking to those people more? And not just talking to academics only. We mobilize, but we need to talk to those people more as well. Okay? So essentially, if you're looking at it, I'm not going to go through any of that now. I just want to go to the end because it's now the end. I just want to say, so based on all of that, just for you to understand that part of our work, which is looking at STEM education and also management, which has been brought together, and looking at the tools that we have created, these are all the tools that we have also developed as well. So looking at that matrix, it's come from business sector, but now we are using it within the science sector as well. The rich pictures comes from strategy and business strategy. We've integrated that within the science sector. And I want to say, based on what we've done, we've come to the end now, just on 6 minutes to say that curriculum transformation is something that we should be doing on a daily basis. Not something that we do once every 4 to 5 years. Because we cannot wait for policies to do that while everything, and especially in the space of VUCA, VUCA, who are we in the process? And I want to say thank you to everybody. I will get your email addresses, I hope you do not mind. I will get all your email addresses who were part of this workshop, and I will send you the evaluation form, and I ask you to please complete it as part of our reporting for the project as well. Okay? Yes. Thank you so much. Can I just get a comment from maybe just 2 people? What do you think about, what have you learned from this workshop?
Can I?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a really nice experience because we started thinking, but it needs some time, more time.
Yes, yes.
My point is that, as you said, that we are doing curriculum reform every day. What do you mean by that? It's not clear. Can you comment on that?
Sorry, what's not clear?
You said that every day we are
doing curriculum. Oh yeah, oh absolutely. It may not be in the policy, how we're writing it up. It's in our interactions with our students.
Okay.
So I'll give an example. The students, to get them more actively engaged and to get them into action learning, action research, getting them to, Slinda Kuhle was the tutor, getting them to go outside and to paint, the biology students, to paint the plant pots, but also to have the plants, the soil, and to look at what needs to happen within all of that. That's a transformation already, and that was assessed. So we have to think about, on our feet, quickly, how we work with it. But if we're waiting for policy makers to do it, it's not going to happen the way in which we would like it to happen. One last comment before Mr. Watch chases us out. Paolo, one last comment.
Well, it was an interesting and enjoyable experience, of course, to play this game. It was interesting, yeah. It was enjoyable. I liked it, yeah.
What did you learn from it?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you everybody. I think, yeah, this is, we could unpack it further, and I think that's the important thing. But But you are left now with a number of questions. How do you address this with your own colleagues back at work as well? Okay. And you've learned other methodologies, the rich picture, the matrix. Exactly. Take it back to your management and see how management works with that.